the Kia Boys doc's kind of what propelled you into this.
That changed my life.
Yeah, that I mean, that is wild. And I know like you've sort of since then. I mean, now you're I feel like in your groove of like you're always on the line of controversy, like dealing with people that are controversial figures, and I'm sure dealing with plenty of backlash and plenty of praise. How like did you know when you were putting that together that like there's going to be a reaction from this?
I thought I was going to totally bomb. At the time, I was still doing prank videos, and I was just starting to experiment with other things. I wrote a list called Ideas That Could Change My Life, and the Kia Boys was on there, but also running a marathon without training was on there. Jumping out of a plane while eating the world's spiciest chip was on there.
Yeah.
I just was throwing spaghetti at a wall because I felt like I had more to express, but I'm like, I have 80,000 subscribers right now that know me for pranks. If I just switch it to something else, I feel like I'm going to lose everyone. But my channel was already dying at that point, so I'm like, I was at my wit's end. And I'm like, who's going to really care about Milwaukee? Like, it's kind of this overlooked place. So when it took off, I just like it was almost like, holy shit, like I'm on to something. But I had no idea it was gonna go the way it did.
Really? Wow.
No idea whatsoever.
When you were filming it, like when you actually got out there and filming it, was it the same video guy that you're with now, or was it somebody else?
No, that was my guy Ellis. He's a jiu-jitsu friend of mine. He used to do all my prank videos with me.
Yeah.
But no, now like I got professionals.
When you were in there and like you guys are doing that, you got your friend helping you out. Is there ever a moment where he's like holding the camera like, bro, what the fuck?
Ellis is a pretty chill guy, so I think he was just like kind of shrugging and just kind of he's the guy that he's good in that environment.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool to know. I feel like when it did start gaining traction and people were like obviously covering it positively or covering it negatively, like what was going through your head? Because I mean, I imagine that was it at that point probably your biggest video?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was on the trajectory, like it got shot out of a cannon, so it was definitely huge for me. And I remember the first interview I ever did with mainstream media, this lady calls me up and she's like, oh, I thought it was a really interesting story. I think it's fascinating. I want to talk to you about it. Sits down. The first question is, so I saw that you were laughing with the Kia Boys. What do you have to say to the victims of families that have died? And it was just like it was like I was so caught off guard. And so like I felt like she sucker punched me almost because she came in with like this really like, oh, I thought you did a great job. And then she like made a hit piece about me.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I think overall I get very positive feedback on what I do.
Yeah.
Like I know in Milwaukee, some of the feedback that was negative. Like I remember I went on this podcast show and he's like, y'all is exploiting the black youth. And I'm like, I didn't interview him because he was black. I didn't interview him because he was young. I interviewed him because someone said they found a Kia Boy that steals cars and I wanted to talk to him.
Yeah.
And it just felt kind of weird to think like getting put in a racial box or hey, I'm exploiting a kid that steals cars because he shared a story, but him stealing 200 or 300 cars from his own community, that's not exploiting anybody. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That was an interesting one. And then you get like a small segment of people that are not happy at no matter what. Like, if I put out a video about the hood, hey, I don't want to see any more of that. Then I put up a video out about the police. Oh, now you're a federal agent. Or just like, okay, like there's certain segment of the population you're just never going to please.
Yeah.
But I would say like overall, like I haven't had one interaction in Milwaukee where it's like in person where anyone's given me a hard time.
Like a crazy hard time about it. That's positive then, I would say. I mean, I think like the thing that's interesting about what you do, and especially with that, is like it had been covered a little bit, but like
no one talked to the guys doing it.
Yeah, no one had really spoken to them. And so I think like that there is value in that, whether people have issues with it or whatever. And I joked with a friend of mine back when it had come out, we were on the show and we were joking like, if that was my Kia, you're party to a crime, but like whatever, and we were kind of joking that way. Like, how did people come at you at all, like from that angle, like, hey dude, like this is, I mean, obviously that one lady, it sounded like, was like, hey, what do you have to say to these families that die? But that's a little intense.
Yeah, well, the thing was, she had her biggest issue, I think, with that was joking with them. And I'm like, there's like, and this is where she was a typical mainstream media reporter, which there's guys that do really good local work. Like, I'm not saying there's not good mainstream media journalists, but
yeah.
They think like, okay, lady, go in there with a suit and wave your finger at them and tell them how bad they are and tell me how that interview goes. Like, I don't know if she could tell, but like that kid had a pipe on him in his sweatshirt, like things like.
If she can even get the interview, right? Yeah.
And no one would ever let them come to their block, dude. You see them start setting up with like they look too official. They look too like, no one would talk to her. And so I was just like, the fact that you had an issue that I joked with something like I don't know, it was just very confusing.
Yeah. I can get that. That's a weird angle to come from, especially if she kind of fronted like so politely at the beginning, like oh, you did such a great job, like
Yeah.
not being consistent, I feel like is a little weird. What, like, something that I've seen when I was like doing research on and getting ready for the show, and this is a big episode for us, you're obviously a huge guest, we appreciate your time, is people were with the exploitative word, right? Where people, from what you're describing, right, where it's like, somebody's breaking the law, me talking to them about their experience doing that, how is that worse than what they're doing? And the only pushback that I've seen that I think maybe is valid, and I'd love to hear you kind of speak on it, is, well, you're the one making money on the story. So that was the only thing. And so that was something I was interested to hear about. And how do you square that? Because you seem like a super down-to-earth guy, and you're more like, it seems morally like you have your head on your shoulders. Like, you lead a good life outside of the crazy stuff that we're chasing here. How do you square that when people are like, you're making money off this? Sure, you're not doing the crime, but you're almost...
Yeah, I think that's a good question. So this is how I think about it, is I never got into YouTube for money. So I did YouTube for probably 5 years where I was losing money consistently and still putting out videos and still have... All I ever wanted to do was replace my meager corporate income so that I'd never had to go back to a cubicle ever again. Yeah. And I was very passionate about this job. And it just so happens that it has grown to a point where I'm making more money than I ever thought I could make. Yeah. But it's never been... Like, I don't follow what's trending. I don't just do something because, oh, this is going to be money. I think about the story, and I let the passion of the story build. And if I believe that that's going to take it to the point where it will make money on its own because people feel the passion in it. Yeah. And then the other thing is, okay, do you want me to be an amateur or professional? If someone is going to be a professional, they have to make money off of their craft. It's the same thing in the wrestling world, where there's academies like Ben Askren's Academy, where you pay like $180 a month to go, and people are like, oh, you're gatekeeping wrestling, it's too expensive. Okay, you can either be a volunteer coach that runs your kids club on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or you can be a total professional where you have to make money off of what you do. Yeah. And so, I don't know, man. And I think the exploitive word is funny too, because I would guess there's not one person in America that gets more requests to go visit somebody in the hood than me. I have guys every single day, like, and I don't want to flex this, but like when people say the exploitive thing, I'm like, there's a reason people are, if they say, hey, Tommy's coming to our hood, they're pumped about it. Yeah. Why? Well, one, we've had multiple people get record deals off of our videos. Multiple people.
Certified Trapper, that's your work, right?
I don't want to name individuals because I don't want to take credit for, like, I love Certified Trapper. He was a guy that I think was going to make it regardless. I played a very small part in his journey, but there's other guys out there too where they were on a video on the channel, label signed them, and to me there's nothing, like, I can calculate in my head, like, we've put M's in the street. Yeah. We put more than $1 million in the streets. Yeah. If I had to guess, probably closer to $2 million. Yeah. So
when people say they exploit, that kind of rubs you the wrong way. I get that.
To me, I just don't think they have the full picture. Yeah. All I would say is, are they like the person that would be saying that, are they requesting you to go to their city? I don't. Okay. Like, then. Yeah. And they benefit. Like, I'm not saying every person that's in a video gets a record label deal. Yeah. Obviously not. But like,
when, like you said earlier, they ask you. Like, you're not. You might be.
I only go places I'm invited.
Yeah. Like, you might be kind of like searching for things within a certain lane, but like from what you've said today, like, people come to you. It sounds like.
Yeah. And like, I might fish for leads. Like, I might put at the end of a video, like, looking for a jail that'll let us stay for 24 hours and film the experience, or looking for, XYZ, and then they'll contact me off of that. Yeah. But people are inviting me to go cover their story, and we built up, the biggest currency I have on my channel is trust. We have got to a point where someone that's trapping out of Tijuana, someone that is stealing cars, a billionaire, a controversial presidential candidate. We did a piece on RFK Jr. Like, all these different people are trusting me to come into their life and do an accurate, fair job of reporting on them. And so, like, that to me is worth everything. And I know I can go into I feel like I can go to almost any neighborhood in this entire country and be welcome because people know how I'm going to treat them.
Hey, thanks for watching there, guy. Click right over here if you want to see that episode in its entirety. Or you can click over here and subscribe to the channel. See all the other fun shit we do here. It's really up to you, guy.